A very warm welcome to all the students of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. Keeping up with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Here we are with remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students! A warm welcome to all the students. Today we are going to study a new topic in English grammar. I request each and every student to please take down notes which will definitely help you all during your exams. Before we start with our topic, I want you all to observe these pictures very carefully. Each picture indicates some kind of message they want to give you. The first picture, where a small cute girl is joining her hands and might be she's praying or maybe she's pleasing someone. In the second picture, the honeybee is giving us a message telling us have a great day. The third picture is telling you to stop. We see that in these three pictures, we often hear this kind of sentences in our day-to-day life, if I'm not wrong. Early in the morning, when you get up, get ready to go to school, your parents always tell you, have a nice day, have a great day. When we are ready to go to school, and if we go by bus or any of the means of transport, we see this traffic signals in most of the places. They tell you to stop when you all see a red signal. We see such kinds of pictures or emojis or sentences from our parents in our day-to-day conversation. Such sentences, such communication are known as imperative sentences. So today we are going to study imperative sentences. Imperative sentences are sentences which are most often used in our day-to-day life. We will be studying that in depth, and you will understand that yes, such sentences are really used in our day-to-day conversation with our friends, parents, your teachers. You all must be hearing such statements, sentences from teachers as well. And such sentences are known as imperative sentences. And we will be studying the definition, what exactly is imperative sentences in today's video. I hope you all are with me, ready to learn imperative sentences today. So hello students, I am Ms.Dezal Dsilva, teacher of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. Will be explaining you all this topic in our English grammar, and the topic is imperative sentences. I also want you all throughout this lesson to observe my pictures that have put it on that particular slide, because it will give you the meaning of what exactly we are studying today. So I hope you all are taking down notes and ready to begin with this topic, imperative sentences. It is the easiest one and you all will understand this. So I hope you all are ready to begin with this lecture. Before we study imperative sentences, let's understand the concept of what is a sentence. Also in my previous video, when we studied subject and predicate, I explained you all first what is a sentence, and this is just a run through of that. A sentence is a group of words. Okay, so if anyone asks you what is a sentence, it is a group of words which contains these three types. These three types are all there in that particular sentence. Firstly, a sentence is a group of words which contains complete thought. Okay, for example, blue sky is the. This particular sentence doesn't make any sense at all. But what is the exact definition of sentence? That a sentence makes complete thought. And if you write the sentence as the sky is blue, and therefore we know that the sky is blue in color. And therefore we see that in this particular sentence, it makes complete sense. So the first most important thing that we should see in a sentence is that a sentence should be complete. It should have a complete thought. Secondly, a subject also contains a subject and a verb combination. Okay, a sentence contains verb and a subject combination. Lastly is a sentence which creates a complete thought, and that sentence can be of any type. It can be just a statement, it can be a question statement, it can be a command sentence, it can be a command exclamation mark. Okay. So, whenever we see a particular sentence, any of these four types can be in that particular sentence. It can be a statement, it can be a question, it can be a command, it can be an exclamation sentence also. So, the most important thing is, as I have mentioned you all, that a sentence is a group of words which contains complete thought. That is the first thing. Also, a sentence is a combination of subject and a predicate. And also, the most important thing is that a sentence is a meaningful sentence, and a sentence can be a type of a question mark sentence or an exclamation sentence or just a statement or a command. So today we are going to study the types of sentences. Okay, it can be question sentence, it can be command sentence, it can be exclamation sentence. So once you all know what is a sentence, today we are going to study the kinds of sentences, or it is also said as types of sentences, that we are going to study today. Okay. So, what are the four types of sentences? It can be a declarative sentence, it can be an imperative sentence, it can be an interrogative sentence, or it can be exclamatory sentence. So, whenever we write any passage or any you can say any story writing or anything, even during our exams, we make use of these four types of sentences while writing a letter or any kind of message you want to give to a particular person. So today we are going to study in detail about imperative sentences. Okay. But before that, I would like to give you all a short introduction about each of this type, because you all should have a rough background about this particular thing. Now, as I have mentioned you all that these sentences have four kinds, or there are four types of sentences. The first one is a declarative sentences. A declarative sentence is a sentence that makes a statement. Okay, those sentences only make some kind of statements. For example, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. It is just a statement. Okay. Imperative sentences are sentences that express a command or a request. For example, be quiet, don't touch the gate. And therefore imperative sentences are sentences which gives us command or a request. Then the next one is interrogative sentence. Interrogative sentences are sentences that ask questions. For example, where do you live? The last one is an exclamatory sentence which express strong feelings and emotions. For example, how cold the night is, and so on. So today we are going to study in detail imperative sentences. As I mentioned earlier, please look at my pictures that I have put on each and every screen, which will help you to know more about this topic. Now in these pictures we see that for declarative sentence we always put a full stop. While in imperative sentence sometimes we put a full stop or an exclamatory mark. For exclamatory sentences we have to put an exclamatory mark. For interrogative sentence we have to put a question mark. Today we will study when to put an exclamatory mark and when to put a full stop when we study in depth about imperative sentences. I hope you all are ready with your books. Let's get started. Imperative sentence. Now what is the definition of imperative sentence? I have given you all 4 points which are very simple to understand. I have made it very easy for you all to understand. So an imperative sentence is a type of sentence that gives us instruction or advice, or it can express a command, order, direction or request. So if anyone asks you what is an imperative sentence, so you all can tell that imperative sentences are sentences that gives your advice, command, request, directions, order. Those sentences are known as imperative sentences. It is also known as disjunctive or a directive. We see that imperative sentences give some kind of message to the opposite person. Okay. And this type of sentences always takes the second person you for the subject. But most of the time the subject remains hidden that we will be studying. It can end in a period that is a full stop or an exclamation mark, depending on the forcefulness of the command. So you all know what is an imperative sentence. It is a command, it is giving you some kind of order, request, direction and so on. It mostly ends with a full stop or an exclamation mark, depends upon how strong or forceful that command is. And thirdly, as I have mentioned you all over here, that in that particular sentence, it always takes the second person you for the subject, and mostly that word you is understandable and that subject remains always hidden, that I will tell you all what exactly it means. For now, I hope you all understood the concept of imperative sentences. Look at this picture. As I have mentioned, imperative sentences gives command either forcefully or mild. For example, if you want to give an order, for example, get out. You see, this sentence is giving a stressful of command. It is forcing someone. Okay. And you see that message, that particular message is very forceful, in anger. And therefore, we use the exclamation mark for that. When we are requesting someone, we put a full stop. For example, please ask to leave the table. Then, when we advise someone, don't eat yellow snow, we see that such sentences which are very forceful, we use an exclamation mark. and which were a very mild, we use a full stop. For example, turn left at the junction. It's just giving you an instruction. It's telling you with a politeness. Warning, when you give an order of warning, we use exclamatory mark. For example, look out. It's giving you some kind of warning, some kind of message. Okay, and therefore we have used the exclamation for order and warning. We will be studying that in depth. Look at this picture. Actually, his name is Smokey, but I want you all to call him Bunny. And I want you all to remember this bunny when you all study imperative sentences. Now, this bunny is so friendly with us, he wants to give us some kind of trick and message. Let's see what his message is. Understood, you is the subject of all imperative sentences. Means he's telling us that in imperative sentences, we don't have the subject in the start. An imperative sentence starts with the base verb plus an object. We don't have a subject. But you'll need to understand that you is hidden and it is understandable. Okay, for example, be quiet. Over your be is the base verb. Yes. Now, be quiet. Is it telling it to yourself? No, it is telling someone else that be quiet. Okay, that can be anyone. But if we add before be, if we add you, then check the sentence. You be quiet. Even though you is not there, but still we understand that before be, there will be you. And therefore, in an imperative sentence, we don't have a subject. But the word you is an understandable subject. So, meet this bunny. Bunny is giving you a trick. So, remember it. So, as I mentioned earlier about imperative sentences, that it will give you a command, an instruction, a demand, a wish, advice. Okay. So, there are few types of imperatives. As mentioned about imperative sentences, it relies on instructions, rely on requests, rely on demands, share invitations, share wishes for someone, advices for someone. That is the job of an imperative sentence. The first one is share a request or wish. There are several types of imperative sentences that each work in different way. Here are some imperative sentences that share polite requests or wishes for someone. For example, have fun at the fair tonight. Have a safe trip. Have a good day. Now, in these examples, we see have fun at the fair tonight. Now, before have, just put the subject you. It is understandable. Even though it is not there, you'll keep it in mind. For example, you have fun at the fair tonight. It is telling you, it is giving you wishes that have fun tonight. Okay. The next one, have a safe trip. Before have, add unc. You have a safe trip. It is telling it to someone else, and therefore we see it is telling you to have a safe trip. The third sentence, have a good day. It is not telling yourself, you are giving a message to someone else, and therefore it is giving you a good wishes, telling you to have a good day. So in imperative sentences, it can also give you a request, it can also give you wishes, and we see that in these three examples there are exclamatory marks because it is telling you some kind of message, okay, which is very forceful, that have a safe trip, have a good day, okay, and we see that we are stressing forth, and therefore we have used an exclamatory mark. Now Imperative sentences can share an invitation also. For example, here are some examples that I have mentioned below. That sentences extend an invitation to someone. Notice that there are not in the form of questions. For example, if you want to invite someone, we often say, please join us for dinner. Let's go out. Let's go to the fair together. Come to the fair with me. You are inviting someone. Okay, and if you add you before that, which is understandable, then you see that such kind of while giving invitations in this type of sentences are used in day-to-day life. And therefore, when we want to give some message which is very forceful or very strong, and therefore we use an exclamatory mark. But when we just want to give a mild message, that time we use a full stop. Now, the third one, sorry. An imperative sentence also shares a request or a command. Notice that these are more firm requests. For example, please don't give the dog popcorn. It is requesting you that don't give popcorn to the dog. Then the second example, stop feeding the dog. It is giving you a command. Stop wherever you are. And therefore we use an exclamatory mark. So we see that, as I've mentioned earlier, imperative sentences are sentences which gives us advices, requests, commands, but these messages are given to someone else. And therefore, we see that the subject you is understandable. We don't write you in any imperative sentences. Such subject you is understandable because we are not giving the message to ourselves, we are giving it to someone else. And accordingly, we use a full stop or an exclamatory mark. During your exams, they will just tell you to identify which sentence is imperative, which sentence is interrogative, and so on. But sometimes they will also tell you all to convert a sentence into imperative sentence, and that we will be studying. Don't worry. For now, I just want you all to keep all these things in mind because it will be helpful for you all while converting a sentence. Often we see that when you're inviting someone or when you're requesting someone, we use the word please. Okay? And if you want to give a command, you often say stop, don't touch. Such types of word we use when we want to command someone. Let's move to our last one. Now, imperative sentences also gives instructions are very common, like driving directions or recipe directions. Imperative sentences, as I mentioned at my very start, that this type of sentences are used in day-to-day life, where we advise someone, where we direct someone, where we command someone, where we request someone. Okay. For example, preheat the oven. It is giving you some kind of instruction. Preheat the oven. Okay. Put out the cookies with a cookie cutter and put them on the baking sheet. It is giving you some kind of advices, some kind of direction. Put them in the oven for about 10 minutes. It's giving you some kind of advice. Okay. Take the cookies out when they are golden. It's giving you some kind of advice. It's giving you some kind of instructions. Let them cool and then eat them with milk. It's giving you a suggestion. It's giving you an advice. It's giving you an instructions. So we see that it can give you instruction. It can give you a command. It can give you a advice request. That is the job of an imperative sentences. I hope you all are very familiar with this pictures. Finally, imperative sentences can even be funny or light-hearted too. You have probably seen many versions of the posters below online, on t-shirts and on signs. For example, keep calm and carry on, keep calm and smile. It is telling someone, it is giving a message to someone, and the understandable subject over here is you. For example, you keep calm and carry on. It is giving a second person the message, and the subject you, as I mentioned here, is understandable. You keep calm and smile. So you all must have seen this kind of messages on online, on t-shirts, where people wear, for example, keep calm, it's my birthday, and all these kinds of pictures that you all see. So now this kind of sentences are also used as imperative sentences and are used where we can see it online on t-shirts. Please note. See, I'm requesting you all. Please note. I am forcefully telling you. Please note. I'm stretching. Please note. So I have used an exclamatory mark. Writing an imperative sentence is a bit different than any other types of sentences, mainly because of the subject, as I have mentioned you. Imperative sentences generally begin with a verb and may seem to be missing a subject, as I have mentioned, but that's because imperative sentences are naturally directed at someone since they give direct orders. Since it is implied that the sub-sentence is directed at a person or a group of people, it is usually unnecessary to name the subject. To make this simpler to understand, let's try adding a person name to the beginning of some imperative sentences. Now, into the next slide, we will add a person's name in the beginning and we will see. But since I have mentioned you all, an imperative sentence is giving suggestions and orders to an opposite person, to the next person. It is not necessary to name the subject always. So we will be having few examples and you all will understand that. Now these are four examples for you all. Sally, please don't give the dog popcorn. Next sentence. Drivers drive slowly. Sam, eat your popcorn. Everybody be quiet. Now, if you take away the underlined subject from the sentence above, they still make sense. For example, just cut down side and see. Please don't give the dog popcorn. Still it makes sense. Drive slowly. We have cut it down drivers and see, still it makes sense. Sam, we have cancelled Sam and see, eat your popcorn. Still that sentence makes sense. Everybody be quiet. If we just write be quiet, it makes sense. So we see that the subject, the starting subject, we have cancelled it. Because as I have mentioned earlier, in an imperative sentence, the subject is understandable subject, that is you. Okay, you please don't give the dog popcorn. You drive slowly. You eat your popcorn. You be quiet. So this you as a subject is an understandable subject. I hope at least now the concept is cleared. In your exams, they will mostly tell you all to transform the sentence into an imperative sentence or exclamatory sentence. Here is a trick I would like to share it with you all because you all are my favorite students of 8th standard and I want you all to be the masters of English grammar. Okay, so if in a particular sentence, if that particular sentence is telling you to do something, okay, then we have to, what will be the structure? That is base verb, that is verb first form plus object will come. If they are telling you to do something, if in a particular sentence, if that sentence is an interrogative sentence or exclamative sentence or declarative sentence and you have to convert it into an imperative sentence, first read the sentence, whether that sentence is telling you to do something. If it is telling you to do something, then you will have the base, as I mentioned earlier, the subject is an understandable subject, that is you. It will come V1, that is base first form, verb first form plus object. Go with Ram. It is telling you to do something. It is telling you to go with Ram. Come at park. It is telling you to do something. It is telling you to come at park because there might be some work. Okay. Now we shall move ahead to the next one. If in a particular sentence, if there is any kind of request or some kind of need or some kind of pleading or please, some kind of thing, if you see, then that structure will get converted into this form. If in a particular sentence, if any kind of sentence in a sentence is telling you to change into an imperative sentence, and if that sentence contains of any kind of pleading or like a request, some kind of thing, then you can either add please or kindly plus verb first form plus object. Okay, remember in imperative sentence you have to use verb first form only. For example, please meet the children. It is telling you to please meet the children. The second example, kindly wait for some time. So over here we see we have to either use please or kindly. After that we have to make use of verb first form. Over here meet, wait is a verb first form and the object is the children for some time. Then the third one. If in a particular sentence it is telling you to do something, always do something, it can be anything, then we have to use the imperative word always plus verb first form plus object. For example, if in a particular sentence it is telling you to practice it regularly, it is telling you to, it is giving you some kind of advice, then you have to make use of the word like always. Okay, always speak the truth. Okay, so see the structure. First you will have always, then verb first form plus object. I hope these three concepts, if they tell you all to change the structure, if from an, you can say from an interrogative sentence, that is to convert it into an imperative sentence, then you have to first read the question carefully. Whether it is advising someone, whether it is telling you to request someone, whether it is telling you to do something, then you have to use these words before starting the sentence. It is not always possible that an imperative sentence is always a positive sentence. If in a particular sentence, if there is something negative, then you have to convert that sentence into negative also. Okay, for example, if an interrogative question is given and the question is a negative type of sentence, then you have to convert, even though if you have to convert it into an imperative sentence, but that sentence should also be negative. You should not change the meaning of the sentence. It should remain the same. Okay, and if in a particular sentence, if in a particular sentence it's telling you not to do something, then we can use the negative words like not or do not. Okay, and what will be the structure? You have to add the not first plus verb first form plus object. For example, don't tell a lie, don't scold Bobby. Okay, now when we have to let someone do whatever he is doing, now if in a particular sentence, if we see that that particular sentence is telling someone to do whatever he wants to do, then we have to add let plus subject plus verb first form plus object. Now remember that the subject needs to be a noun or an objective pronoun. Okay, it should be a noun or an adjective pronoun. objective pronoun. Now, it is very important for you all to understand this concept. Now, if it is telling you to do something, okay, if it is telling someone to do whatever he wants to do, then we have to use the imperative starting word let. Okay, let will have a subject which needs to be a noun. You all know what is a noun. And what is an objective pronoun means? For example, instead of I, we have to use the word me. That is known as objective pronoun. If it's a girl, you have to use her because it's an objective pronoun. If it's a boy, then you have to use him. Okay. And also, for us, you have to use us. For you, you have to use you. That is known as objective pronoun. For example, let me play. Over here, we see that it is telling someone that let him play, let him do whatever he is doing. Now, instead of I, we have used me. That is known as objective pronoun. So, let me play. Next one, let Ram study. Now, over here, what is the subject? Ram. Ram is a noun. Okay. And therefore, we have written here, let Ram study. Let him study. If it was a girl, we would have written, let her study. So, in a particular sentence, if it is telling someone to do something, to let something, then the structure will be let plus subject plus verb first form plus object. Now here, if that let him do something, it can be positive also, it can be negative also. If it is positive, it will be let plus subject plus verb first form plus object. If it is a negative, then you have to add not. Either you can add not in the start, or as I mentioned, let plus subject plus not plus verb first form plus object. Okay, don't. For example, don't let me play. The second one is let me not play. The next example, let him not study. The next one, don't let him study. So we see that it can be written in this form also, the first form also, and it can be written in the second form also. It's both are correct. Okay. So always remember, if it is negative, you can either add in the start or you have to add after the subject if we are letting someone to do something. Okay. I hope you all understood the concept of imperative sentences. It's very simple and very simple to understand, because an imperative sentence, as I mentioned, it gives us an order or request or command or makes an appeal or suggestion. It usually does not begin with the subject, as I've mentioned, but directly with the base verb, that is verb first form. The subject, usually you, is understood. Okay, and these are few of the examples I would like to put forth so that you all know that the subject you is understandable. Okay, and during exam they tell you all to identify, or sometimes they tell you all to convert a sentence. Okay, but as I've mentioned you all about this, that in imperative sentences it's a request. If you're requesting someone, you say please. If you're advising someone, you either say better you don't do it, don't do it. And if you want to command, it can be either stop whatever you're doing, be quiet. Such types of sentences. Then we saw that in imperative sentences, it can either give you a command, a suggestions, an appeal. Okay, and therefore this was the structure. These are the few examples of an imperative sentences. If you add you, it is an understandable you, but in exam you don't have to add you. You don't have to add you. Keep this one thing in mind. In an imperative sentence, you don't have to add just for your knowledge, it is just for your understanding that you is an understandable subject. Like, please open the door quickly. It's giving you some kind of command. Please open the door quickly. Don't stay out at don't stay out at night. Okay. Bring me a glass of water. It is telling you, it is commanding you to bring me something. Okay. So these are some types of sentences which are an imperative sentences. It can either be an exclamatory or a full stop sentence, but most often we have a full stop sentences for imperative, and subject you is an understandable subject. Please don't write you in your exams, or else I will give you all 0, because you is just for your understanding. Okay, because over here subject is not given but understandable. For example, put the book there. Automatically book will not be there now. You're telling it to someone. So instead of taking everyone's name, I'm just saying it in general. Put the book here. So it can be anyone. You put the book here, or it can be any. It can be Ram, it can be Sita, it can be Gita. Instead of taking everyone's name and wasting my period, I will just say put the books here. A common message to everyone. And therefore, the subject you is understandable. I hope at least now you all understood an imperative sentence. Now this is a small exercise for you all. They have told you to rewrite the sentences as imperative sentence. This sentences, some are interrogative sentence, some are declarative sentences, and they are telling you to transform it to an imperative sentence. I'm giving you all like 5 seconds so that you all can quickly rearrange it. If it is negative, then you have to convert it into the negative form. We will journey together. Why waste your time in building your? You cannot lie there. I want to see. I'm giving you all like 5 seconds, I can say, or 5 for you all to think on these answers. We will journey together. I hope many of them have got right, or many of them must have not written it also and are just waiting for answers. So here are the answers. Now, we will journey together. Now, in this particular sentence, we have to convert this sentence into an imperative sentence. You can either use please, kindly, don't, let, always, such kind of words in the start. But make sure that that particular sentence is making some kind of sense. We will journey together. Don't journey together. Always journey together. Then do journey together. Don't journey together. Let's see whether it makes sense. Let's journey together. That makes some sense, I guess, right? And therefore I have written let's journey together. You all can use this kinds of words where you all can see, okay, if I use this word, and where will it go? Okay, and see, I have not mentioned you because it's understandable, but over here let's journey together. Okay, now in the second sentence, why waste your time in building your? Why? It is telling you some kind of, it's giving you some kind, why are you wasting time? Okay, so like, see, let's waste your time in building your, whether it's, let's see it makes sense or no. Kindly waste your time in building your, please waste your time building your, and don't waste your time in building your. Does that make any sense? Why? It is asking you, why are you wasting? So it's telling what is the actual message, that don't waste time, right? Why? It is telling you why are you wasting time. So the Short form of an imperative sentence is just telling you don't waste your time building you. You cannot lie there. Now see, in that particular sentence cannot is there. Not negative sentence is there. And therefore you have to convert. Even though if you have to convert it into imperative sentence, still you have to use the negative form only. For example, always not lie there. Does it make sense? But see, don't do not lie there. That makes a complete sense. I want to see. Kindly see. Please me see. Does that make sense? Check. And then finally, let me see. Instead of I, what I have mentioned, you all have to use me. Right or no? Okay, so over here, let me see. I hope you all understood this lesson. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you all soon.